welcome to my channel. I'm Dr. Jenny from the block, and if you're new here, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome back, and welcome back to me too, because I've been gone for a minute. But before I jump in to share life updates, talk about private practice, and a little bit about values, I first just want to thank you all for rocking with me, sticking with me even when I'm not as active on my channel as I have been in the past, but I'm working on it. But I also want to remind you to remember to like and subscribe, share my videos, turn on that notification bell so you can be alerted when I'm dropping them gems. So let's get into it though, because I have been gone. The last time I uploaded a video, it probably was like September. So that was a minute ago, because it is definitely March. But a lot has happened. And so I'll quickly kind of just jump into the life transition stuff, because I think I hinted at it a while ago. But there's just been some major changes in my life. And one thing I've learned about myself is transitions really kick my butt. And there's nothing different about this season of change and transition, because there's been a lot. So many months ago, I posted a video about changing jobs, working out of private practice in Philadelphia. That happened. And then some stuff happened in my life, and I had a deep reflective period where I started to think about my values. And really, we think about values are like the behaviors and activities that we engage in that really help us live and work in the ways that make us feel good, make us feel connected, happy, etc. And so I realized I wasn't aligning with my values. And so I decided to once again leave a job and pack up my stuff, and I came back to the West Coast. But I think what has been helpful in keeping me grounded during this process is me remembering my values. I came home because I wanted to be connected with friends and family. There are other values and whatnot, but like community, etc., that really just underline this desire to come home. And then I also think the impact of COVID and all that stuff, just the things happening in the world, I wanted to be in a more stable and secure place, and being at home is stable and secure for me. So I'm home. Ta-da! So that's that big surprise. I'll insert a video clip that I actually made for Instagram that shows the practice, so you get a little like sneak peek of that. It's a pretty nice place, very aesthetically pleasing, and I like it here so far. I've been working here now for a little less than 3 months, and it's a change. It's a new group of people that I'm working with, new environment, new clients, so needing to like build a caseload again, etc. And so let's segue into private practice, because I think this is a natural segue. So now it's been about a year since I've been doing private practice, but not a full year since I've been doing private practice full time. If you all remember, I left the university counseling job, I think in May of last year, probably April actually. So not quite there, but actually, well, hell, it's March. So I'm almost a year in private practice, so even more timely. And it's been a transition and a learning curve. So this part of the video is for those who are interested in learning more about private practice. Here you go. So private practice, I think there's a difference between being in your individual practice by yourself and being in a group practice. So all my private practice experience has been with a group. And I personally prefer that, because I do not like administrative things. I'm not at a place yet in my career where I want to be responsible for not paperwork, I have to do paperwork, but like setting up platforms and doing all the things. Like, I'm not there yet. I know how I am. I really find those tasks to be tedious, so I don't even mess with it. So I like having, being in a group practice, because a lot of things are already set up. You have to, though, do some things on your end, which is what I've been learning. So at my last private practice place, I recognized that they actually did a lot of things for me. They got me set up with insurance companies. They handled a lot of the front work with billing with clients, with checking for co-pays, like a lot of helpful stuff that now at this practice, I've had to do a little bit more of. And so that's something that was a transition and change. So if you are thinking about going into private practice, whether you go solo or you go to a group practice, you need to think about money. You need to think about if you want to do the work of getting credentialed with insurance panels, because they'll pay you, but they won't pay you your full rate. So for transparency, my session rate is $200 an hour, and insurance though will only reimburse a portion of that, and more than half. It's definitely more than half, but you have to take that into account. Versus if you are private pay, your clients will pay your rate unless you do a sliding scale. Now for you out there who are thinking about being a clinician, and many of our ethics, and me as a psychologist, our APA code of ethics, it actually talks about being able to provide pro bono or sliding scale services to economically disadvantaged folks, and I do that as well. So I do offer sliding scale rates, but therapy is not cheap. And there's a lot of reasons why therapy isn't cheap. For those of you who are not clinicians, but you're more on the client side, I can make a different video talking a little bit about why our prices are what they are. But it makes sense about why we charge what we charge for the services we provide. So you really need to think about how you want to get paid. Like, do you feel confident enough to build a caseload on private pay clients? If so, that's great, because you could essentially be taking in $200 a pop. It just depends on your training level of experience, expertise, areas, all those type of things. Another thing that I think is really important for private practice is really thinking about how you're going to build your caseload. I like the group practice format because people can easily find the group practices, look at your bios and all those things, but you can create a website for yourself if you're in solo practice. You got to think about if you want to advertise yourself on different platforms. So a lot of folks use like Psychology Today or Therapy for Black Girls, other, databases like that where you can be easily found, but that also costs money to be listed on those sites as well. So you need to think about that. Like, how much do you want to pay for your marketing and advertising? How do you want to advertise? Do you want to use social media? Do you want to use those databases, word of mouth, passing out business cards? So really think about that as well. I think another thing that's really important to think about for private practice is what type of clients do you want to work with, and or like what are your specialty areas of practice. So even though I was trained as a generalist, and I've had experiences providing a lot of different types of therapeutic modalities, etc., and working with a number of different concerns, I find that it's been helpful to kind of narrow that down to things that I've worked with more consistently, populations and stuff that I feel really comfortable and knowledgeable about in order to like advertise myself. So I think it could be really helpful to find your niche so that you're not overextending yourself or practicing in areas where you're not fully competent. So really think about what are the things you really do well, and if there are areas you want to grow in, fine, but it's about being intentional. And so for me, I've definitely enjoyed kind of narrowing it down, because then I'm getting clients that I want to work with, or at least around issues that I feel really interested in and really knowledgeable about. Another thing of thinking about clients is with private practice, it can be really open-ended work. So for those of you who are working in settings where there's like a time period, like 12 sessions, 8 weeks, whatever the time frame is for clients, knowing that in private practice, like, they're just here. As long as you're here, they're here, unless you fire them. And firing clients, for some clinicians, is like very easy, if they don't feel like there's an alignment. People like me who haven't had to fire too many clients, it can be uncomfortable. And so I try to absorb clients that I feel good vibes from, and feel that I can at least start to build a relationship with them and feel invested in the work. And for those of you who are not clinicians that are watching it, we say fire, but it's really done in like a compassionate way. Well, I would hope, I can't speak for other clinicians, I can speak for myself. When I've had to terminate with clients, I've had conversations about, some of the issues I've noticed, and offered referrals, offered to support them until we could get them to referrals, and make space for dialogue around like, why I don't feel like it's a good fit. Really, it comes down to fit. Sometimes it comes down to folks not paying, for their services, not being consistent with attendance. That's where I've had to fire folks around attendance and no showing, not calling, not providing monies for the work. And so it's been around that, and I feel like that those conversations have been easier for me to have because it's around policy. But sometimes it's not around policy. Sometimes a clinician might feel like, the problem is out of their scope, and that they can't navigate it as successfully as maybe another clinician, or maybe sometimes there's some background things happening for the therapist in which they recognize they can't support the client. So I just want to put that out there because I don't want it to seem like we're just like, oh, don't like you, deuces. It's not. It shouldn't be like that. Yeah, just wanted to throw that in there. But yeah, so thinking about private practice, you think about the clientele you want to build. And then I think really thinking about boundaries. I have found recently that it has been a little bit more challenging with boundaries than it was at my previous private practice because they did a lot of the front end work, like I said earlier. So they were kind of screening clients, and I didn't really have to have like consultation calls or anything like that. Like I might have had a consultation meeting, but that was kind of after some information was given to me and then I could make the decision. With this practice, folks can email me or call me directly for consultations. Now, clinicians, you don't have to have a consultation with a person because they ask for one. I just want to put that out there. But that's something I've had to learn and get more comfortable with, of just kind of getting some information via the email or the voicemail and kind of making the choice of like, I don't think I would be a good fit for this person. And I communicate that to them, but knowing that I don't have to take that 15-minute phone call if I don't want to, and holding that boundary. And then I want to also add that even if you take that 15-minute phone call, you do not have to agree to be their clinician following that time. So really thinking about what that person is bringing, in. Can you support it? Do you have the capacity for that? And then making decisions based off of that. So yeah, I'm still learning. It's still a work in progress with private practice, but I really do enjoy it so far. I will say, in private practice, you can get paid really well. I won't put numbers out there, but I will definitely say I've had a significant pay increase from one practice to another. And so really, thinking about like what you feel like you're worth and making sure that you are asking and advocating for that, especially, if you're in a group practice and there's a practice owner, just having those conversations, those transparent conversations about financials. I actually had a very great open and transparent conversation with the practice owner here, and I really enjoyed hearing why they take whatever percentage that they do, where does that go to, how are they supporting us as clinicians, etc. So I would say talk about financials if you're in a group practice. If you're in a solo practice, you don't have to worry about that. You just have to figure out how much money you're going to spend on your electronic health record system, on your marketing and advertisement, and in your space. The cool thing is with telehealth right now, you don't even need to rent office space unless you want to do hybrid or full in-person work at this time too. So for you clinicians getting in the field wanting to start solo practice, this is a great time because a lot of expenses are cut out because of the COVID world right now. So I'll leave it up there for now. If you all are interested in hearing more about the private practice experience, let me know. If you're interested in hearing more about transitions or values and how those can help guide you to make decisions that feel more aligned with what you want and what you see yourself doing, let me know in the comments. But yeah, it's good to be back. I appreciate you all for checking me out. Just remember to like, subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram at Dr. Jenny from the Block. Do turn on those notification bells because now that I'm back in my rhythm, I'm finally at a better, stable place. I can be more creative, which is a value of mine, hence why I'm recording today. So yeah, thank you. And check out this video that I'm about to add in a second of the practice and tell me what you think about it. I think it's cute. But yeah, all right, y'all, take care and be safe out here. All right, bye.